Hi guys, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. This one is for Monday the 4th of July going through until Sunday the 10th of July 2022. Thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today as always. I'm going to go through each day this week to see what the planets are doing, what energy they create amongst themselves, and how you can then use that energy to your advantage. The whole point of these horoscopes is to try and assess where the potential wins are, where you can succeed and where things are really easy and where you have a super uncomplicated time of it, and then to avoid some of the pitfalls where the energy is a little bit more challenging, and not even to engage with that and to avoid it if you possibly can. So the thing that I find quite interesting about this week, we've got a lot of the personal planets changing sign, and what that means to me is that you're going to notice that there's a change in your perception, and because of that there's a change in reality. So if you're very kind of invested in a certain way of seeing the world and operating, then you're able to amend those things. We do that a lot using things like affirmations. And interestingly enough, I was listening to a song yesterday, and in that song, one of the lyrics was, life isn't that hard. And I was like, what? Life isn't that hard? Because unfortunately, one of my affirmations that I wasn't even aware of, that I've kind of accepted and accepted as true, is that life is difficult. But when I heard that lyric, I was like, hey Greg, how about saying life is easy? Not even life isn't that difficult, but life is easy. And I love that just by saying it. Everything in me kind of bristles against that, and it's like, well, really? But if I continue to affirm life is easy, then I know in my heart that that is going to manifest and become a reality. Same as when you look in the mirror and you say, I love myself, I love myself, I love you so much, thank you for taking such good care of me. In the beginning it feels odd, but if you keep doing it, sooner or later you come around to it, and it becomes a truth. So the whole thing is a matter of perspective and what you choose to believe, and that's then going to have a big impact on your life. Also, what I feel is that relationships are going to be really, really important to you this week. Overly important to a certain degree. I'll go into more detail on that. But like on the 4th of July, which is a public holiday in the States, and lots of people are going to be interacting, relationships are super important and you have a good time and an easy time of it. Then by the time we get to the weekend, things become a little bit like underhanded and cloak and dagger, and you're like, oh, maybe I should back off on this. So if you're able to change your perspective, and then relationships are so important, then really look out for what's actually happening in your relationships rather than what you're choosing to believe about your relationships and the people in your life. Okay, so on Monday the 4th of July, we have a lot of changes. So first of all, Mars and Mercury, both of them are personal planets, and the personal planets in the horoscope, they're the ones obviously responsible for your personal identity and what you're experiencing. The outer planets have to do more with the external world, other people, your environment. So Mars, the planet of drive and ambition, that moves into Taurus. Taurus is a fixed sign, it's an earth sign, and it's very interested in your work and your environment and what you can rely on. So with Mars being drive and ambition, you'll want to make changes in your practical circumstances. Mercury, the communication planet, enters Cancer. Cancer is the 4th sign in the zodiac, and that's very much focused on the family, and it's a cardinal sign. So it's my responsibility to improve my relationship. So in terms of your communication, you become very gentle and very accepting and very how can I love you? How can I say nice, charming things? Mercury in Cancer then sextiles Mars in Taurus, so the two join up forces. And at the same time, you'll want to look at your environment and your relationships. So how are my relationships in the right environment? So the two combine, and it's like, I want to put the people I love in a good situation and myself in a good situation so that we can all have a good time and enjoy each other. The moon is in Virgo, and the moon is what comes naturally, and Virgo is actually ruled by Mercury, the communication planet. So with the Virgo moon, you have this huge sense of, I want to understand everything. Virgo suffers from the illusion that if I educate myself enough, and if I learn enough, then everything's going to make sense. I'll be able to perfect everything, and I'll be able to change my life exactly in the way I want it to be. So it gives this illusion of control over absolutely everything in life, in the universe, in the world. Now, the fact of the matter is that even if we, spend our whole lives educating ourselves and reading and trying to understand things, there are certain mysteries in our universe that we're not privy to. And that's where faith comes in, a sense that I trust that things are going to work out even if I don't fully understand them. So with that Virgo moon, I would just say kind of try and differentiate between what you can and can't control if you want to have an easy time of it and not get frustrated. The Virgo moon then squares Venus in Gemini, and that's lovely, actually, that connection. Gemini is also ruled by Mercury, and Venus is the creative planet. So instead of trying to assign meaning to everything, look at the meaning and the truths that exist within you. Be willing to adapt those and change them, and get creative with what you believe to be right and accurate and on point. The Virgo moon also trines Uranus and Taurus. So if there are any changes or upsets or things that are unexpected, you'll want to understand those specifically. And I think what's going to work better is working on acceptance and saying, okay, even if I don't understand this, it's okay. I don't have to kind of berate myself and beat myself over the head just because I don't get every little thing. And then the Virgo moon also sextiles the sun in Cancer. So I want to understand the people I love, and I want to be around my family. And it quincunxes Chiron in Aries. So I want to connect. I want to be around loved ones in order to feel good. So you can see that other people are almost put on a pedestal here, and it's like it's so important. So your focus is almost exclusively on the real world, the physical world. Your work, your finances, your relationships, your environment, anything that exists on planet Earth. The spiritual side of things is almost completely out the window here on Monday. You may feel like you want to make changes in these areas and seem compelled to get as many answers as you possibly can to understand your situation in order to change it. So that works, that's accurate and good, but only to a certain extent. Don't try and understand the incomprehensible. And motivation isn't going to be lacking in any way on Monday because of that Mars and Taurus energy. It's really forceful and strong. Tuesday, the 5th of July, we have Mercury in Cancer forming a sextile again with Mars and Taurus. So the focus on the right people in the right environment is still there. The Virgo moon now opposes Neptune in Pisces. Neptune is the water planet of dreams and intuition. So it's like, if it's spiritual, if it's like existing on some other plane or dimension, I don't care. Really, like, you withdraw from that massively, even if you're a huge spiritual practitioner. And it also trines Pluto and Capricorn. So the thing that's super important is, what changes can I make in the here and now? And it quincunxes Saturn in Aquarius. How can I make changes? By learning and educating myself and listening and, again, understanding the situation in order to have the perfect result. So on Tuesday, your family, your loved ones, and what you love about life, all of that is at the forefront of your mind. Spirituality and religion go out the window, and you want to understand in order to build. So think of yourself as a really kind of successful architect and mason and planner. Well, the image that's coming to mind, I read Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, and I think the protagonist is like a guy who builds cathedrals. It's that kind of vibe. It's like, I want to build something that will stand the test of time. Usually, when you get this focused on one thing, it kind of indicates that the lower self is at work. And I think the lower self is trying to prevent you from getting really useful messages from your higher self, from source. That's why it's giving you this excessive focus on the real practical world. So if you do meditate most days, don't skip this one. It seems kind of fishy to me that your focus is being kind of forced in that practical earthy direction so strongly. It kind of says to me that something is going on behind the scenes which could be really useful. So try not to miss out on that. Wednesday, the 6th of July, we've got the moon going into Libra at 25 minutes past midnight. So the moon in Libra is all about balance. Libra is a bridge with a bump in it, and it allows you to connect with other people very well. It allows you to connect with the higher realms. It's a bridge between you and anything else. So this sense of connection is heightened now, and you'll find it really easy to engage, to interact with things that exist internally and externally. So it kind of helps out a bit. The Libra moon then opposes Jupiter and Chiron in Aries. So it's like, oh, the family is much more important than just my own selfish little desires, which is true sometimes, but not true at other times. If you don't make plans for yourself, who's going to make them? So I think balance is the key here on Wednesday. The Libra moon also squares Mercury and the Sun in Cancer, so I really want to be loving and kind and help everyone else. And my whole identity rests on the fact that I am loved and that I have people in my life who are my friends and who I'm their uncle and their nephew. And you define yourself as someone who exists in relationship to other people. But the reality is, even if you have no one in your life, you are still a spiritual being having a human experience, and ultimately it doesn't change that fact. So I think overthinking those kind of things is like, or saying I am just as good as how many friends I've got or how many people love me in my life. It's just an inaccurate way of judging yourself, so try and avoid that. The Libra moon then also trines Venus in Gemini, so it gives you great creativity again, same as the day before. And if you think about your own perception of the world, and if you try and get creative about your own life and your own way of thinking, and even if you give voice to that through some sort of creative output, you're going to be very pleased with what you come up with. And it quincunxes Mars in Taurus. So we've got a lot of Venus and Libra and Taurus energy here, and all of that is about beautiful things. So you can make things more beautiful creatively and in terms of your own thinking. Venus in Gemini then sextiles Chiron in Aries. So it's important that I do give myself 5 or 10 minutes to understand or get clear on what I'm bringing to the table. If I join a dinner or something and I'm grumpy and I'm just complaining all the time, then I'm going to share that energy with other people, and the dinner isn't going to be as fun as if I focus on the positive and tell jokes, for instance. So the good thing about Wednesday is that your feet are firmly planted on the ground, with the defining factor of your life being your relationships. So, sometimes people say mean things out of anger. And if someone says something mean like, you have no friends anyway, that would sting at any time, okay? But if someone says it to you on Wednesday, it'll sting more than usual because I am how many friends I've got. So try and just check yourself on that. Because other people are at the top of your priority list, you may as well enjoy those people and have a good time and plan a social event and let your hair down and just go with the flow there. I think that'll work really nicely. Thursday, the 7th of July, we've got the Libra moon now opposing Chiron in Aries. Okay. So my needs are totally irrelevant. The needs of other people are the most important thing. You're not the Dalai Lama, okay? You may want to be, but you're not. There's only one of them, or several of them over different lifetimes. I don't know, I think being completely focused on other people and completely giving yourself is a good thing. What you put out, you get back most of the time, right? But if you totally abandon yourself and if you say, I am not important and my only role in life is to serve it becomes misconstrued, and it can get you in a situation where you're a doormat. So don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning that, life is all about you and you exist on an island and nothing else matters. But it's about balance. If you don't eat food, you're going to be hungry. I mean, even if you're cooking for everyone else and you don't eat anything yourself, that doesn't work. The Libra moon then squares Pluto in Capricorn. So that's nice because you're looking at your practical circumstances in a very flexible way, and you're like, nothing is set in stone. If I'm not pleased with something, I can change it. So you see, that's the important thing. And if you're not even interested in what you do like, in what works for you, and what you don't like, and what doesn't work for you, then you're missing that opportunity and you won't be able to make those changes that are available to you on Thursday. The Libra moon also trines Venus in Gemini, so the creative ability is still there in a practical sense and when it comes to your thinking and perspective. And it trines Saturn in Aquarius and quincunxes Uranus and Taurus and Neptune in Pisces. So you can continue to do your research and learn and understand, but again, put a limitation on that and say perfection isn't required. If I understand this to 95% of it, that's more than enough. You are adaptable to change and still very uninterested in the spiritual. You're going to try and understand things purely on a practical level or on an intellectual level. So what it says in black and white on paper. I'm not so interested in what I feel. And that's a very important part of you. I mean, your intuition is going to let you handle situations much more effectively than trying to just work them out on an intellectual level. So please, same as the day before where I said don't skip the meditation if you do it every day anyway, then Thursday is the same thing. Don't disenfranchise yourself from your own intuition, from your higher self. That is the one thing in life, as far as I'm concerned, that has your back consistently and that wants you to have a happy, lovely experience. So on Thursday, the lack of personal interest you've shown, that may go to the extreme, you may go overboard with it, and you could find yourself now, you see this is where it starts to turn a little bit, you could find yourself being manipulated and taken advantage of. It's that saying of, I give you a little pinky and you rip my whole arm off. So look out for untruths in other people, and also if you find yourself lying and making up stories just to get what you want, put the brakes on that. Those kind of things always catch up to you. And it's also just not a good look, because if someone busts you lying blatantly to their face, they're not going to trust you again. It's just the way it works. On Friday, okay, now we're entering the really intense kind of controlling part of this week. And mainly I say that because the moon enters Scorpio at 7:15 in the morning. And Scorpio is a water sign. Scorpio and Taurus are on the same axis, right? They oppose one another. Scorpio is the water sign that wants to get to the truth. It uncovers hidden secrets and it's like, okay, this is the root cause of the problem. Let's get it and change it and heal it. Taurus is about this world is something I can use to make myself richer. I can gorge on food and beautiful things, and I can have lots of money in my bank account to feel secure. And I can control all of those things. So I'm just exaggerating kind of to make a point here that both of those are very interested in control. So Scorpio wants to know that emotionally it matters, it's loved, and it understands the truth of the other person. Taurus wants control over the physical world and wants to be able to say, do you know what, if I want to live in a nice house, then I can make that happen for myself. So they're good and bad. We do need to take control of our lives. And actually, now that I'm saying it, this whole week is about a lack of personal interest. Excuse me, I do have hay fever, so I'm sorry I keep clearing my throat and stuff. It's just really hot and summery here, so I get hay fever. So I'm sorry if it annoys you. But yeah, so you've been kind of uninterested in yourself. So on Friday, it gets a bit intense, but the good news about that is you do have an interest in yourself again. Your own needs aren't like thrown to the wayside. But just watch out for the fact that you're not overly controlling when it comes to your feelings. Like it's the kind of thing, like the different, like if someone cheats you, right? Someone who's spiritually healthy and okay says, okay, that wasn't ideal, I'm angry about it, but I'm going to let it go and move on with my life. Someone who's really trying to control the situation says, someone cheated me. Oh, I'm going to, first of all, get really resentful about that. Then I'm going to make plans for revenge. Then I'm going to take that revenge. Then it's going to be a bloodbath and everyone's going to be unhappy. Choose the first one. It's a lot healthier. The Scorpio moon then opposes Mars in Taurus. So that's friction. Do I control the physical world or do I control my emotions and my relationships? It trines Mercury in Cancer. So relationships, the seesaw lands on the side of relationships. And quincunx is Jupiter in Aries. So that's like, I'm grating my teeth here because I'm forced to still care about family even if I feel hard done by. And not just family, relationships. I'm so invested in my relationship. It becomes too much of a good thing where you're almost choking the life out of it and everything becomes very volatile and intense. Mercury in Cancer squares Jupiter in Aries. So the image I got when I read this was like Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system. It's good luck, good fortune. And it's like a helium balloon. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And with Mercury in Cancer, poor little Mercury in Cancer, it's trying to control this uncontrollable expansion of Jupiter, and it can ravage you emotionally. So it's like trying to suppress yourself. If you find yourself doing that and you're like, I really want to go and do something for my work and I want to listen to music afterwards, but I have to go to this barbecue and be nice to everyone. It's going to put you in a really difficult position where you're like, oh, I have to, and I don't want. You feel forced to do something you don't really want to do, and it can create a lot of irritability. Then the Mercury also squares the Sun in Cancer and squares Chiron in Aries. So you don't know your elbow from your behind, really. What do I do? Am I nice to grandma? Do I sort out my calendar? Am I supposed to do volunteer work or make plans for the future? It's really a bit much. So all of this frustration then and the Scorpio intensity leads to you going into retaliation mode. So because rather than being confused and saying, oh, I'm totally lost, it's much easier to say, okay, I'm angry and annoyed about something that someone said to me. Let's go after them. Because at least you know what you're doing there, right? Still not good. Any injustices you suffered, they're going to appear from the past. You'll remember them and they'll make your blood boil. It's interesting, but the example I got, I was sent to boarding school when I was 11 years old, right? And horrible things happened to me at that boarding school. You know, like boarding schools are famous for like abuse and institutionalized violence and all this stuff. And I think it was last week sometime, I remembered it. I woke up in the morning and I was just so obsessed about what had happened to me like 30 years ago out of the blue. I made a video about it. I decided to make a video about what had happened to me at this school and to warn people about them. And I was just like, what am I doing? This was 30 years ago. Why are you angry about it now? It's the same vibe here on Friday. That things that are unresolved, that you still have a grudge over, they appear out of nowhere and make you really angry on Friday. The good news about all of this, self-will reappears. So you are interested in yourself. And along with the strong and ongoing focus on other people, you are now conflicted and irritated about which way to turn. I think the solution here on Friday is make plans for yourself and try and balance that out with engaging with other people you care about and you love. So try and maintain good boundaries and try and create some balance between yourself and other people and try and do both basically. So don't only lock yourself away and focus on your own thing, or don't just please everybody else all of the time. Try and manage it so you can do both. Yeah, okay. Saturday, the 9th of July, we've got the Scorpio moon opposing Uranus and Taurus. So I don't want any changes. I don't want anything outside of my control. So the irritability is still there because obviously things aren't controllable. It squares Saturn in Aquarius, so that's kind of confusing because now everyone else is my friend and I can listen to them and they will help me. It trines Neptune in Pisces, so the connection with the higher self is back, so your intuition will start to guide you a little bit more. And the Sun is in Cancer, so family continues to be important, colleagues, friends, people who are close to me. Sextiles Pluto in Capricorn, I'm getting exhausted reading this. So I want to make practical changes. And it quincunxes Chiron in Aries and Venus in Gemini, so I want to get creative about the way I think and I want to make changes for myself. It's too much, right? You can't. This to me on Saturday the 9th seems like a grand cross in a birth chart, like this big red square made up of 4 aspect patterns called squares. And it's like going round and round and round. You have lots of energy, but it's difficult to decide, what am I going to focus on? Do I focus on myself or the function that I'm invited to, or do I make plans for the future or my environment? And it's just exhausting. So I feel just take a breath on Saturday. Mercury in Cancer also squares Jupiter in Aries, so that still is the tendency to suppress the self and self-will. I feel you're going to land again on the side of relationships, which is what this week is all about. But you're so frustrated by all of this stuff going on now that you may start to display some underhanded or Machiavellian behavior. I remember I worked with a guy years ago at a bank. His name was Lionel. And he one day decided to go on this big rant about how he's able to manipulate other people and how he's able to influence them and how he's Machiavellian. And he was proud of it. And I heard that and I was like, okay, you're proud of the fact that you're underhanded and that you lie? I will never trust you ever, ever, ever. Especially, like, like, most people can manipulate and do behave in a way that's less than, above board. I mean, that's human nature to a certain degree. But then to be proud of it and to announce it, I mean, one, don't do it. Two, what is the matter with you that you're proud of this kind of behavior? And second, do you expect any of us to ever tell you anything again now that you've said this? Okay. So basically, my point is, if someone notices that you're being underhanded and Machiavellian, they're not going to be inclined to then tell you their deepest, darkest secrets, nor they're going to be inclined to get close to you because they don't trust that you will use this information in a way that's positive. So what's interesting about Saturday is, you've worked so hard all week on your relationships, and on Saturday, it may be kind of hurtful to discover that all of this is blowing up in your face and all your goodwill is being taken advantage of. So you've been so nice and you've been there for other people, and now in return, you're being manipulated and you're like being told lies and stuff. Why? It feels hurtful. So try not to get into that and understand it and analyze it and stuff. I think use the ability to control and influence to make practical changes in areas like work and discovering your own life purpose. So even though the seesaw lands on the side of relationships, I think it's very important to land on the side of yourself, because no matter what you do on Saturday, I think you're going to run into some sort of an issue because everyone is frustrated and everyone's trying to wrangle for position, and it's just a big disaster. That's encouraging now. Sunday the 10th of July, we've got the Scorpio moon sextiling Pluto and Capricorn. So Pluto rules Scorpio, so now it's like control, understanding, emotional intensity is everything. The Sun in Cancer sextiles Uranus in Taurus, so I want to move heaven and earth in order to be there for other people. Again, this excessive focus on being other people's nursemaid and spoon feeding them. And do you know what? Again, you may think I'm cynical here, but in my experience, if you spoon feed people, don't expect to get a big thank you afterwards. Expect them to demand more spoons. You may disagree with that. That's just my personal experience. The moon enters Sagittarius at 10:34 in the morning. Hallelujah. Sagittarius does not care about control. Sagittarius is excessive and it's fun-loving and wants to get somewhere. So it's like, let me leave this whole mess behind and go on a trip. Let me go eat some candy floss at the fair. I just want to have a good time here, okay? I want my life to be lighter. I want to have a freer experience. And it's like, what? It's like a cool breeze on a hot summer's day. Yes. The Sagittarius moon then trines Jupiter in Aries, hallelujah again, because rather than suppressing yourself now, Jupiter can blow up the way it wants to and you can pursue your own needs and desires, so it's far less complicated on Sunday. And it quincunxes Mars in Taurus and Mercury in Cancer. So I want to take charge of my circumstances and I'm not conflicted about it anymore. I still can help other people, but I'm much more balanced about my perception. I am not my relationships. I have my own life. Thank you very much. By maintaining your focus on what you can change in life on Sunday, by educating yourself, by making plans for work or your life purpose or living situation, and you keep focusing on that, you'll make a lot of progress on Sunday and you'll discover practical solutions to any issues that you have going on in your life. And those practical solutions, by doing something with them, that's going to serve you incredibly well. So Sunday is really a nice day for you to actually affect change. It's going to benefit you first and foremost, and it's great, basically. Okay, so that's what I get for you this week. It looks like a very interesting week. I think the key thing here is the ability to change your perception of reality, and that the control factor of the whole week is, I don't need to believe this. Just because it appeared in my head doesn't make it true or right. I can believe whatever I want to believe. Thank you. And I mean, I'm saying that in a kind of flippant way, but like that affirmation, life is easy, that's going to serve all of us if we adopt that much more than saying, oh, isn't life difficult? So I hope you have a wonderful week. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. When you get to the front page, scroll down a little bit and you'll get to a button that says book your reading. Click on that to order your reading with me. In my personal readings, I use astrology, the tarot, and numerology. I combine all three of them to give you any answers that you need. I printed this weekly horoscope out and I'm saving paper so I can actually show you a chart on the back. It kind of looks like this, but and it's a snapshot of the sky at the moment you were born. So I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth, and I get this snapshot of the sky, and I can see what your default setting is, what your talents are when it comes to work, your life purpose, if that's different from your working life purpose, relationships, children, family, communication, money, personal development, spiritual development, hopes and dreams, moving, career success, what's coming up in future. If you have any questions, strengths and weaknesses, if you have any questions at all, please do get in touch with me for a personal reading to get some clarity around what's going on for you and what's likely to come up in future. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and the bell next to it so that you're notified when I come on live. And share the video online with other people. That would be really nice. If you're free to do that, if you can share astrology videos and tarot videos with your friends and people you like, that would help grow the channel, which would be amazing. So if you can do that, please do. It'd be very much appreciated. Have a wonderful week here, and I'll speak to you for the daily tarot readings, the special videos I do on the new and full moons, and these weekly horoscopes. All the best, and I'll speak to you soon.